right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of Marriage Matters with Ken and Shar. I'm Ken. She's Shar. How you doing today, babe?
You know, I was thinking you might ask me that question. So I was going to turn around and say, how are you doing today?
Oh, how am I? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
How are you today?
I've had a great day.
Yeah.
And I'm doing great. We're mid-morning right now. I got up early, went to a men's gathering, and had a devotional with a bunch of wonderful guys, came back, spent a little bit more time. Charlene and I are doing a reading through the Bible together in one year. And if I miss a day, I panic. I'm like, what am I like legal? I'm really legalistic about it. I don't like missing one day.
I'm thinking you are.
So I came home and hadn't done it yet. So I sat outside in the courtyard and banged that out real quick. And then here we are behind the mics doing our thing. So
I'm excited about this episode. I know I say that a lot, but
this one's this sprung up out in your heart, right?
It did.
Wasn't on my radar at all.
No, it wasn't. And getting him to agree to it
was easy.
No, it wasn't. I had to really massage it in his heart. And I can understand why, since you're the one who does all of the actual putting the verses together and, you know, getting the whole study together. And I don't do that. So, you know, I have to have you on board, but I'm excited about this episode because it's right where we're at. And as we talk about it, and we've been talking about this episode, we look back at our 48 years together,
right,
and all the times we've been right here. And sometimes you don't even realize when you're making a decision how to be in unity. And that's what it's on today. And so we're there in our life right now in some decisions we're making, but actually, our whole married life has been making some hard decisions that are weighty.
I don't know that we've ever seen it that way, but as we were getting ready for this, we looked at each other at one point and went, we've always been in the valley of decision. Right. You make one and there's another one coming. Right. And a lot of them, the stakes are really high. So, okay, let's back up. Let me introduce the episode.
Okay.
And we'll get it going. So this is a standalone episode. We're between series right now. And again, this one kind of, just given where we are together in our life right now, this was really on Charlene's heart to do an episode on getting on the same page. That's what we're going to call it, is getting on the same page, with a subtitle of how to make unified decisions in a really complex world. And what started all this was us realizing we're in the valley of decision right now. We're making decisions that have a lot of weight to them. They're going to set the course really for the next or last, really.
The last part of our life.
Part of our life together, given careers and finances and how all the pieces of a puzzle fit together. And then we started realizing that every couple we know that we could mention.
Young or old.
Yep.
Yeah.
We looked at our 3 children and their spouses and families, our good friends all around us, and literally every relationship we know is in the middle of big, hairy decision making, right?
And trying to get on the same page where you both feel you've heard from the Lord and you have a path to go down is tough.
Oh, it's real tough.
It's a hard thing sometimes.
We kind of struggled whether to make this an add-on episode to our last series, which was becoming a power couple, because there really is power seen in a couple who stride for stride. They are in unity and they can make big whopper decisions without somebody getting railroaded or somebody making some unilateral decision. And
you know what I have found throughout our life, I don't want to get ahead, but
it's okay.
When we are on the same page, when we make a big decision, we're not talking about who takes the trash out. We're talking not what color you're going to paint your house. We're talking decisions that are weighty.
Yeah.
And I know when we both are on the same page and we both have heard the Lord and we know we're walking in His will, then when things get hard or they don't always go the way you think it's going to go, or mostly when they get hard and there's some suffering because of that decision, you think, oh, I missed it. But see, when you're on the same page and you know you both have heard the Lord, you go, no, this is what the Lord had planned.
Yeah, and just because something's hard doesn't mean
no,
it isn't
it's usually the opposite. anyway, I'm excited about this. I am excited about this episode, and I'm really hoping that it will give encouragement to those that are listening.
Go over some of the things that we're thinking, decisions like, give some
Well,
examples.
career changes are huge.
Yep.
Um,
We've been in that valley of decision a number of
yes.
times.
What school to send your kids to, or if you're going to homeschool.
Those are for young parents out there. I know as your kids, they're born, and as they get 3, 4, 5, 6, now school becomes
Right.
where you live becomes a big issue.
And that's we're not even talking college yet.
Right.
That was huge.
College tore us up.
Yeah, college was tough. And, where to place an aging parent in your home or in an elder
Now
care
you're on the other end of the spectrum,
right?
With an older marriage
Right.
who's has a parent that's aging. Do you bring them into your home?
Right.
Do you put them in an elder care somewhere close by?
Right.
If you have a parent now with American families being really spread out,
right,
and you don't live in the same town, I know a couple couples right now dealing with that, where they have a parent. Do we move? Do we move them from where they've always lived in with us and to our town? Well, these are massive decisions.
They're massive. Moving a family to a new home or a new city or state.
Yeah.
Health and medical decisions.
Yeah,
they're huge.
Those are big. What treatments to receive. I mean, that's just, thank the Lord, we haven't had a lot of that, but we know couples that big decisions. I know a family where memory loss was occurring in one of the spouses, and whether to work on that at home or a memory care facility. Right. And it was torturous making that decision.
It's just really, those are hard decisions. Even what ministry that you're to be, where you're using your gifts.
Yeah.
Where
to serve in your church.
Where to serve in your church. Yeah. So anyway, those are just some of the things that we have had to deal with throughout our life. And I know whoever is listening to this right now, they can probably name one of those.
Well, where our age is, our peers, everybody's making, well, you could call it retirement decisions, though retirement isn't a real biblical precept, only really in America.
It's just career change.
Yeah, it's what to do at the last stages of your life, where your fruitfulness is going to begin to diminish. Are you financially ready for when you're not earning anymore? Right. How to put those pieces together. Boy, do we know couples struggling really to get on the same page.
Right.
And
well, I know couples struggling. They just don't even know what the page is that, they're just
what page?
It's like, okay, what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do? And I'm excited about this episode because of that.
Yeah.
Because it gives us a little plan of how to get there.
And honestly, there's no shortcuts here. These are hard things to go through. They're important, but there's no magic bullet. And all we're trying to do is encourage couples to, whatever you do, protect the unity of your marriage.
Right.
That's really the underlying message here, right?
Well, I think so, because it started off with some decisions we're making right now. And it's like, how do we make these decisions, Kenny?
Right.
And we're doing marriage ministry. How do we, as a married couple, for a long time, but still we have different opinions and different perspectives, different thoughts, and how we get on the same page. And I'm excited about that because I think we've worked through some of these in our own life. And it's been really freeing for me, especially, to be able to make some decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. So the episodes really just encourage you, a few tips maybe we can drop, just how to stay united through all the many marriage decisions that whether you're young or older, as you're listening to this, you're probably in a decision right now when you think about it, and there's many more coming. So we love this. We try to have a text that we kind of bounce out of with each episode. And this one comes from Psalm 133, verses 1-3. It says, "Behold how good." Many of you have heard. Do you remember the old song?
Oh, yes, I remember the
when
old
we grew
song
up in the Lord.
in the 70s.
Yeah. "Behold how good and how pleasant it is when the brothers dwell in unity." And then it describes it for the Jewish person in that day. It's like a precious oil on the head running down the beard, on the beard of Aaron, who was the first high priest, running down the collar of his robes. It's like the dew of Hermon, which falls on the mountains of Zion. And then you get this, for there the Lord, where there's unity, the Lord has commanded the blessing, life forevermore. there's a great blessing where
Mm.
people stay in unity
Mhm.
and they protect the unity, particularly in a marriage relationship. There's a rich, rich blessing in partnering together, working together
Mhm.
through all the variables and creating a vision or a plan
Right.
together. There's life in that, right?
There is life in it, and there's joy in it.
Yep.
Even though some decisions are difficult and have some sadness included in it, there's still joy knowing that you've made the decision that you guys both came to together,
Yeah.
and nobody had to lose, and nobody was just the straight winner, and then there was a loser.
Right on.
I always say, "Let's how do we win-win this?"
Win-win,
It's a
man.
win for you and a win for me,
Yeah.
so, I love that verse, I
Yeah.
do.
Just to define what we're talking about, unity a little bit, there's a really cool passage in 1 Corinthians 1:10 that talks about unity, talks about being in agreement with your brother. Don't let divisions happen. And then it says this at the end of that verse, but that you be united. There's the unity issue in the same mind and same judgment. That's what we're talking about, is staying united in the same mind and judgment, which is an issue of the heart. The word judgment there includes strategies, purposes,
Mhm.
goals,
Mhm.
opinions, um, same resolve to the same goal. So that's what we're talking about, is staying unified that way, where you not just have a common mind, but the strategy is the same,
Mhm.
the
The
end
pathway to get
goal, the
there.
pathway,
Mhm.
the end result is the same. And that really comes through a lot of praying together, which we're going to be talking about here in a moment.
And I did wanna make a point that I know we grab a few verses here and a few verses there, but unity is throughout the whole Bible
Oh, it's a
from
huge,
Genesis to Revelation. It is the actual reason that I think Christ came. So, not only can we dwell in unity with each other, not just married people, but people here on
yeah,
earth, but with the Lord.
yeah,
And that is his ultimate goal.
yeah,
'Cause it is said all the time, "Unity, unity, unity."
right.
I think it's because it's really hard to achieve
Well,
in
take
our
a
fallen nature.
sure. When you take a little bit of a deep dive here, that if a couple is going to bear the image of its creator, of the creator of
Mhm,
marriage, and he's gonna be reflected in mine and yours
mhm,
relationship. Gotta remember, God is 3 distinct persons in one Godhead,
mhm,
and he's perfectly unified, Father, Son,
mhm,
Spirit, in purpose, in outcome,
mhm.
in
Good
all of
point.
it, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And a husband and wife divided over these things don't in any substantive way put him on display,
Right,
where there's divisiveness and disunity and
right.
broken fellowship there because of opinions,
Mhm,
crashing desires that are clashing into
mhm,
one another. Then the Lord's not on display there. He's on
right.
display where we're walking in unity. He as a triune
Mhm,
Godhead is put on display when a husband and wife are
mhm.
one walking in unity.
Yep,
So
you're right.
this all plays in with the great design of marriage, of putting Jesus on
Mhm,
display, right? Okay, so let's get right to it here. Tip number one, right?
mhm,
Was that what
mhm.
we'd call it?
Well, this is what I felt praying about just where we're at in our life and where we've been for a while since we started Marriage Matters almost 4 years ago. It's been constantly having to plan, but where the planning starts is always in prayer.
Yeah.
And I remember 15 years ago,
Hmm.
I really wanted to do a marriage ministry. And I just felt it strong in my heart to do full-time marriage ministry. We didn't know how to achieve it. Actually, I don't think I even talked to you about it. I just felt in my heart I needed to pray. And I prayed diligently
Hmm.
over a marriage ministry. Now, what I thought in my head it would look like, it doesn't look like now, but I know that the Lord kept saying, "Pray, just pray,
Hmm.
call on me, pray." And I didn't mention it to you, and
Well, and
I
I think when you did begin to mention it to me, here's and this
Mhm,
happens a lot. I
uh-huh,
think so. She's got some vision here, right?
right.
A desire, things are stirring
Yeah,
that are from the Lord. So she drops that ball on me and goes, I think the Lord's calling us to I'm going, "Look, dude, I'm in the middle of an active, growing church.
mhm,
I mean, I can dabble in it, and
right.
we can do an event here and an event there," but she was like she had an idea of selling out to marriage ministry. And I'm
Right.
going, I can't even get my head
No.
partway around that.
You know what? It wasn't the right time. And then COVID hit, and it was like, I think I stopped praying about it during COVID because I went, "Okay, th our life is we're scrambling now."
Right, right.
And but I had been praying and praying and praying and waiting, just waiting. It's like, "Okay, Lord, if this is your will, you'll show us." And prayer is the big deal
Yeah,
because it's not that it might have never happened, but I was praying about it and waiting and just going and giving it to the Lord.
right.
I like when you can just have faith and keep it there.
Yeah,
When you're prompted to pray, pray.
that's perfect.
So anyway, that's where it all started, and it was you were not on the same page, nor did we need to even make a decision.
Right,
God hadn't opened any doors.
right.
And I like this verse, Jeremiah 33:3. This is my favorite probably verse. "Call unto me, and I will answer you and show you great and mighty things which you don't know."
That's, again, that's the first stop. If you're a couple and you're in the valley of decision, and it could be anything from a job, do I take
Yeah,
this job?
all the
Where do
things
we
we listed
Yeah, where do
above.
we send our kids to school?
Right.
All of it, right?
Mhm.
Or you're on the latter
Right.
end, like us, and
Mhm.
it's, I don't know what to do with X, Y, or Z, right? Then start praying
Mhm.
together. That's
Mhm.
where any kind of united decision begins, as a husband grabbing his wife by the
Right.
hands and calling on the Lord together.
Mhm.
Now, even as we say that, I know some couples out there are going, "Well, you just lost me because we don't know how to do that,"
Right.
right? Can we just encourage every couple that hears this, that every couple struggles with this, an aggressive, spirit-filled prayer life. I'm not talking about husbands praying for their wives or wives. We hear this all the time. "Well, I pray for my husband every day. I pray for my wife all the time." Okay, great. That's awesome. But do you pray with them
Mhm.
and over them and unitedly call on the Lord together with one voice,
Right.
right? And then when we start probing that question, we find out, "Ooh, no, 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 no. I pray alone for them."
Mhm.
And that is not what we're talking about.
No, well, I'd like to add that, the wives, sometimes they put all the responsibility on their husbands to pray together, and they have to initiate it, they have to do it, and that's not true.
Right,
As a wife, you have every right to grab your husband by the hand and say, "Would you pray with me?
right.
Just pray with me."
Just agree with me,
And
yeah,
just pray.
yeah,
I have some things heavy on my heart. I have more things heavy on my heart than you do,
right.
and
This is
I
true.
get much more, complicated thoughts than you do, and I get much more, you could probably name all the things that I get.
You probably fret a little
No,
more
I
or
do.
worry a
No,
little
I do.
more or get
A
more
lot
worked
more
up.
scenarios in my
Yeah,
brain
yeah,
than you get,
yeah.
and I need to pray about those with someone,
And you're
and
right. You know what? As you said, that's
mhm,
really right. For a wife who feels those things and then say, "Well, but my husband won't. I would just wish he would lead me
right.
there." I'm going, "Okay, time out.
He doesn't know.
If the Holy Spirit's stirring that in you,
Yeah.
then go fast, go hard, go loud, and
Right.
start praying. He'll catch up to you.
Oh,
He'll
totally,
catch up."
totally. So I just
Same with
want
men.
yeah, right.
Men get stirred in their heart to pray. They know
Mhm,
they
mhm,
want to go there. There's something in them desiring to go there with their
mhm.
wife and spiritually be the head of the
It
spear. Get out there and go,
right.
right? But boy, there's a resistance to it,
Mhm.
and until you break through that
Yeah,
and that gets torn down and you challenge that, you'll rarely begin to pray together with any real power, right?
right,
So we do encourage that. We've done full episodes on,
right.
right, how needful
Mhm,
marriage life is for an
mhm,
aggressive prayer life together,
right.
right?
Well,
And
and
that's where it all
right,
begins.
and the next part that I really felt was you need to plan, because if you don't plan, nothing's going to get done.
Right.
There are steps that we have to take when we're making decisions, and, Proverbs 16:9, "The heart of a man plans his ways, but the Lord establishes his steps."
Yeah.
That's a lot of faith. You plan always in faith.
Right.
It's like, I'm thinking this is the way we're to go,
But the Lord can
but the
interrupt
Lord
that
can interrupt,
anytime,
which he
right?
has so many times
Oh,
in our
yeah.
life,
Yeah.
and or he changes it a bit, and a lot with Marriage Matters, he has done that.
Yeah, I think we'll share a story here in a little
Right.
bit that kinda
So,
illustrates that.
we pray. First, you just pray. Next, you start planning. 'Cause you have to plan. If you're gonna move somewhere into a new home or put your
Yeah.
kids into school or colleges, you have to make some plans.
And the plan flows out of, again, that promise that you read earlier that he will from Jeremiah, uh,
33, yeah.
33, he promises that he'll show you, very specific,
Mhm,
things you do not know.
mhm,
The plan flows out of that revelation or quickening
right.
as the Lord begins to stir your heart towards something.
Mhm,
And if I could interject this, I love this. Write it down. Write the
exactly.
plan down. Get a
Mhm,
notebook out and start writing down as you pray through what the Lord is showing you. He even tells Habakkuk to do this,
mhm,
the prophet prophesying to Israel in a real dark time in Israel's history. He says, "Write the vision, Habakkuk, and make it plain on tablets, so that he may run who can read it." Right. So that was important for him to get
mm,
the prophecy down in written form. And then he tells him, "If it seems slow in coming, wait for it will surely come. It will not fully delay. It's going to happen."
right.
Right. So this plan is something that flows out of what the Holy Spirit stirs in your hearts when you're
Mm,
together praying,
exactly right.
right?
So I love Proverbs 19:21 too. "Many are the plans in the mind of a man,
Mhm.
but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand."
Oh, I love that.
I can get a lot of plans going in my mind,
Yeah.
a lot of
And you know what?
things.
That I think what that verse tells me is that's okay,
It is.
because in the end,
Mhm,
the Lord's gonna have
mhm,
his way. It's his purpose
right.
that's going to be fulfilled. This is part of his, I think, trusting in his
Sovereignty.
sovereignty,
Mhm,
his high purposes, right?
mhm,
All of that we can trust that the Lord's gonna, in his providence, he's gonna have his way.
right.
And then this last thing, share this, I thought this was interesting. So
Well,
you have pray,
yeah,
plan.
I had all these P things,
You
and it was
did,
cracking me up because that doesn't normally happen to me since I'm
right?
not a Bible study, teacher necessarily, but just to be patient.
Mm.
Just to be patient and not try to
Isn't that the hard
move.
part for
It is
us?
so hard because you feel like you pray for things sometimes for so long. But just to be patient
Yeah,
and wait, patiently wait,
yeah,
and while you're waiting, in that waiting period of no matter how you don't know how long this is gonna be before the Lord really shows you,
right.
opens up doors or whatever he's doing, to be productive, still in your walk with the Lord, still be serving in your church and, um, be mindful of what God is doing all
Yeah,
around you, not
you can't
just
be paralyzed,
yeah,
and we've
right,
known couples that they have this pending thing they're praying through, they're waiting on the Lord, but until it happens, they are paralyzed and wringing their hands with angst, and you don't have to do that, gang.
no.
Pray,
Or
plan,
mhm,
and then just patiently and productively wait on the Lord. Keep moving
right.
forward.
And I've known people that are waiting for a job. Let's say they've been waiting for 2 years
Yeah,
to get this promotion, and they haven't gotten it yet. They're frustrated. They've been praying, they've been planning, and now it's time to be patient
right.
and still be productive, still have the joy of the Lord.
Oh, yeah,
You still do the things that you do
yeah,
until God opens up the doors, and I love that about the Lord. I think this is where I think a lot we're good on the planning. I think that's hard on the prayer and being patient,
yeah.
and
Oh,
at
yeah, we
least
love to make plans.
oh, yeah, I love
Yeah, we
making
don't like
plans.
waiting on the Lord.
No,
Yeah,
and so just being patient, I felt like the Lord was telling me, "I need just to be patient. Let him do his work
yeah.
in the right timing."
There's
So
that, I've got that verse ringing through my head, very famous, well-known
which
verse in
one is that?
Isaiah 40. It says, "But those who
Oh,
wait on the Lord, they
uh-huh.
shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles and run and not be weary and walk and not faint."
Mhm.
So, waiting on the Lord is hard on all of us, I think.
I wanted to share one thing, just one example in our life
Mhm.
that was a huge thing. I mean, a lot of them. We've had a lot of huge decisions to make together in our life. A lot of them.
Oh, since marriage?
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I mean, even when to have our first child.
Yep. When to buy a house.
There's a lot.
Yep.
But normally the ones we get stuck on are career moves, at least in our life. And because we made the decision we felt like the Lord had us go into full-time ministry at a very young age at 22. There came a time in our life about, I don't know, 25 years later that we left that ministry and you worked in the secular world. And then a new church started forming and we were not a part of that at that time, but soon we did become that. And I was very happy with that. And then they asked you to be the pastor.
Oh, yeah, you're talking yeah. That was a real valley of decision for us.
It was, because I said absolutely no.
Yeah, we had 22 years in full-time ministry, a wonderful church, and we felt that was coming to a close, and you're right, I went back to work for, it was a
couple
years, secularly, and really, I think both of us were fine.
I was very happy.
The closing of a ministry life was fine with us, right? We always held pretty loosely to it.
We knew that it was the Lord at that point.
Yeah.
So we were both accepting of that easily.
And then we became a part of a little Bible study that actually started to really grow. And from, a living room with 30 or 40 people, before you know it, it was a growing thing.
Right.
And eventually they asked if I would pastor again. They felt this group together felt like there's a church here. God wants to do that. And would I do it again? And man, that was.
And Kenny was like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And I went, no, absolutely not. I like going to church with my husband and sitting with him on Sunday. I like having weekends off.
Yeah.
And I like this life.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at you. We were living in a little apartment at the time because we were in between homes. And you said, what do you think? And I looked at you and I said, no.
I think no.
I said, no.
I think not on your life.
I said, absolutely not. I said, but I will pray.
Yeah.
And I will pray. And if the Lord changes my heart, then okay. But I'm not going to do it unless I feel totally confident. So I think it's the only time I've told you no.
Yeah.
And because I really did not.
And I was fine with that.
And you were. You
said,
okay.
That's not something I was willing to drag you
No, you don't want
into. No, I knew. Then we'll just wait on the Lord and see what the Lord does.
See what the Lord does. And through a series of events that were very traumatic.
Okay. So wait, let's back up.
Okay.
So
go back up.
We began to pray.
Okay.
And we were praying with each other, with this thought in mind, right? Is the Lord doing this? What do we do? Again, valley of decision, right? But we didn't fail to plan. But the plan was to keep waiting on the Lord and stay productive.
Right.
Right. I didn't quit my job and wait. We didn't.
Right.
Right. We just kept serving Jesus and praying and waiting on the Lord. So the plan was, we don't have to strive to do anything. So we just stayed the course and waited on the Lord. And the plan was just to stay faithful to Jesus, really.
Right.
And eventually, I'll let you pick up the story from there, but the Lord began to really move in your heart.
Well, I'll just, it's a little bit, it's a little story. So it's huge in my heart. We were 45 and just our two kids were in college. One was home with us. And like I said, we were living in a little apartment and you got really sick, very sick. And really,
I spent a few days in the hospital.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was like a life or death thing. And I remember when we finally got you in the hospital, and luckily they were able to do a procedure that and get you on some antibiotics that would,
I got well. Yeah.
That was getting you well. But I remember you looking at me and saying, Charlene, I don't know how many more years on earth I'll be, but I know that I'm called to preach the word. And I looked at you and said, you're totally right. I know that's what God has for us.
Yeah.
And I knew in my heart that when it came down to it, I know that that's what the Lord had called us to.
Yeah.
So I got very much on board,
Then the
and
planning really began, and
right, and I was
yeah,
there was a joy in it for me
yeah,
because I knew that the Lord had changed my heart. And it
yeah,
was I never had to question it afterwards
mhm,
because I knew that this was what the Lord's plan for us.
yeah,
We had prayed faithfully for
yeah.
it.
I wanna double back for a minute and read Proverbs 19, verse 21. You read it earlier,
Mhm.
but because it illustrates it's what you just shared really illustrates the truth that's bound up in this verse. It says, "Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it's the purpose of the Lord that will
Mm.
stand." So while we're working through all that and trying to get answers and figure it all out and get on the same page, which weren't
No, we
necessarily,
weren't.
we weren't disunified,
No, but
but we were waiting.
we weren't gonna make a decision until we were on the same page.
And he used something really hard that we went through,
Mhm.
a physical illness thing, to reveal his purpose. And in the end, his purpose did stand. It led to another 22 years of, full-time ministry and another beautiful little church that we were
Mhm. It was
privileged to
wonderful.
serve
It was wonderful.
for a long time.
And, I never questioned when hard things came.
You knew the
I
Lord
knew it
was
was
in it.
still the
Mhm.
this was the Lord's will,
Yeah.
and I could rest in that, and
Yep.
I could have faith in that,
Yep.
and I could have joy in that.
Yeah.
And he's the author of it all, and
Yep.
he's gonna get us through it, and so there was a wonderful joy
Yeah.
in walking in the plans that he had made, in his
Yep.
steps, honestly, that
Yeah.
because he had ordered our steps. So I'm sure that each of you, if you're listening to this, you're thinking of past and how faithful he is. And that's what I kept thinking doing this study together. I was like, "Oh, he's so
He
faithful."
is faithful.
I could give so many examples right now
Yeah.
just from our life.
Well, that's what as you were sharing, that's what I was thinking is that pattern of being in a decision-making place. Your life is moving fast, right? And that pattern of praying together, calling on the Lord, him revealing his purposes and creating a plan, but it not happening right away.
Right.
You're waiting for the Lord to open the right doors and guide you through. There's a patient staying productive while we're waiting on the Lord. That pattern
Mhm.
of prayer, planning, and patient productivity
Mhm.
is something that, as we look back, is a pattern for how we've
Right.
managed to stay unified with a lot of really big, high-stake decisions being made.
Right.
Let me jump in here just for one quick second because we're gonna run out of time, and I felt like when we were putting this together and talking about it days ago, babe, that I wanted to share this and kind of a biblical example of this. I can hear some minds going out there where particularly men
Mhm.
are going, "Well, wait a minute, time out. Aren't I the leader here?
Right.
Don't I make the decisions for my family?" And I'm going, "Okay, well, you could do it that way."
A lot of
But
people do.
but but you're gonna find a whole lot of disunity in operating that way, but, there's a story, a narrative in Genesis 21 between Abraham and Sarah, and Sarah says, "It's time. You gotta get rid of this Hagar, the concubine, and now her younger son, Ishmael, and it's time for them to go." She had had it. And Abraham was grieved by that and didn't want that to happen. He loved Ishmael and he didn't want to send him away, right? But Sarah wasn't having it. And so Abraham started to bow up about that. And the Lord came to him and said, "Look, don't be grieved by this. Listen to your wife and do what she says." Again, it's out of Genesis 21, verse 9 through about 12 or 13 there. And I thought, for me, when I remember reading that years ago and going, okay, there's times where in the process of big decision, do I send this woman and her son
That's huge.
away into the desert,
I can't imagine.
right?
Yeah.
That I need to listen because my wife can have every bit as much wisdom on a matter as I do.
Mhm.
And the Lord can be speaking to her, and I need to be very open-handed about a lot of things. And I wanted to address that because when it comes to decision making, I know there's within some men the thought that I make these unilateral decisions and my wife just needs to kind of follow in behind, right? And I thought, there's times even where Marriage Matters was concerned, where
Mhm.
you were sensing things years before I was
Mhm.
about the possibility of us ending our ministry life, ministering to marriages. And I think the wise man will take time to pray with his wife, listen, and together they create a
Mhm.
plan
Right.
as the Lord reveals his will together. And I think at that point, both have buy-in, both have the same strategy, the same purpose, the goal in mind. And I think unity at that point is just a beautiful thing. And it does put the Lord on display, the unity of the Father, Son, Spirit,
Mhm.
completely unified together. And I think that's what's important. So that's for us, has kind of distills down into that. Pray, plan, and then patiently and productively wait upon the
Mhm.
Lord.
And, as we're talking, there's one more
Mhm.
instance that we were pretty young in ministry. We'd been married about 10 years and, going through some things, at our church that were difficult. And I remember you looking at me one day and said, "I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna quit my job." And I just went, "Oh, well, okay." I mean, I didn't know what to say. And you went down and you quit. You quit the ministry, which you were an assistant pastor at the time. And it was emotional. It was an emotional response to some hard things.
Yeah.
We
It was
were
in the flesh, what it
we
was.
were young, and then the Lord just started speaking to your heart that that was not correct.
Right,
That was not the right thing to do. And so you went back and you apologized and said, "I'm sorry, that was not the Lord."
right.
And it wasn't the Lord, but you had made a decision that was very difficult
Mhm,
based on an emotional response. And
mhm.
the hardest thing, I think, is not to make a decision on an emotional response.
Oh, very true. We started this whole thing out with stop number 1 when
Mhm.
it comes to making decisions and staying really united and together. Uh, it starts with being willing to pray because the Lord will calm your heart. Then the Lord starts speaking to you, and
Exactly
you're
right.
not gonna operate in your
And
flesh,
then it
right?
might be time to make a career move
Sure,
or whatever decision that where the conflict
but you'll
was.
operate in a way that
You'll
glorifies Him.
you'll walk in the Spirit.
Yeah.
It's easier for those decisions to come
Mhm.
when you're operating in the Spirit.
Yeah.
There will be
Totally.
and there won't be so much disunity, especially if it's a career move
Right.
or those kind of things, or
Yeah.
in family,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. Okay, so there you have it. We're running out of time, babe. So, thank you for letting us just share a little bit of our
Well
life with you and how we make decisions,
I'm
you
thinking
know?
that hopefully it will spark some communication if you're in that valley right now or
Mhm.
in if you're in the place where you're, making a decision.
Oh, yeah.
How to work through it, where it's a win-win for both people, and how to express yourself, how
Yeah.
to talk about it, how to pray together,
Yeah.
and wait on the Lord, and it's a fun thing to watch God start putting things together.
Right. Oh, it's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. So, and even as you said that, I had this weird thought in my mind that I guarantee a lot of the couples that are listening, they are in decision-making places right now as we're talking. So, pray, plan, and then patiently and productively wait upon the Lord and stay united. Protect your marriage through it all, gang.
Mhm, mhm.
All right?
Your own unity, uh-huh.
Okay. Well, there it is. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Marriage Matters. And we love you guys. Can't wait to be back with you in a couple of weeks for another episode. Until then, God bless you richly.
Bye-bye.